remembering the young man's life continued to grow at the scene of the tragedy.
It's just every parent's worst nightmare, so I just want their family to know that we're thinking of them and that their son is a hero.
Police say a group of 4 teens ambushed and stole a mobile phone from their 14-year-old victim. It's alleged Mr. Becker then stepped in before the assailants turned on him with a machete.
He's just such a good soul, to be honest. He never really did anything bad to anyone. And he always, looked out for people.
The Yarrambat Junior Football Club, which Mr. Becker once played for, posted a heartfelt tribute this afternoon. He was the kind of teammate every club hoped for, always willing to put others before himself. His impact reached far beyond the game, they said. 18-year-old Mike Pecos faced the Melbourne Magistrates Court this morning charged with murder. His lawyer argued her client was vulnerable due to his age and will see a nurse while in custody. He'll return to court in June. 2 others have also been charged with murder, while a 4th teenager remains in custody. Costa Haratos, ABC News, Melbourne.
Police are investigating what sparked an argument that led to a man being stabbed to death at a home in Sydney's inner west. Officers were called to a Concord house around midday where a man aged in his late 30s had been stabbed in the chest. He was pronounced dead at the scene. A 41-year-old man was arrested at the home and taken in for questioning. His partner is assisting police but is not in custody. The victim is known to both men and was visiting the home when the fight broke out. Police say the death isn't being treated as domestic violence at this stage.
This is a terrible incident, and as I said, this level of violence is completely unnecessary. You go to someone's house on a Sunday afternoon for whatever reason and this occurs. It's not something that I'm sure the victim was expecting would happen, and now multiple lives have been ruined by this incident.
Hometown hero Oscar Piastri has made a disastrous start to the Formula One season, crashing out of the Australian Grand Prix before the race began. The Mercedes team dominated at Albert Park, with George Russell victorious ahead of Kimi Antonelli.
This is what Albert Park did not want to see. Oscar Piastri had been hoping to become the first Australian to win his home Grand Prix in Melbourne, but didn't even make it to the grid. That is the sort of incident you would not expect a driver of Oscar Piastri's calibre to be making. The McLaren team was shocked, as were thousands of fans who'd come to see Piastri race. This is heartbreak for Oscar Piastri.
With the actual crash, there was a combination of a couple of things, a large element of just me, cold tyres, the exit curb, but I also had 100 kilowatts more power than I expected.
It's lights out, away we go! New regulations with lighter, smaller, harder to handle cars were expected to provide unpredictable, exciting racing. Pole sitter George Russell and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc exchanged the lead in the early laps.
It's a massive lock-up from George Russell. He did well to stay on the track, but Charles Leclerc's going to get that lead back again.
The Red Bull of Isaac Hadjar made a smoky exit, and new team Cadillac was down to 1 driver after Valtteri Bottas departed.
We might have lost the honorary Aussie on lap 18 here.
The Englishman Russell grabbed back the lead, and that's where he stayed. The world champion Lando Norris held off a challenge from Max Verstappen and finished 5th.
53 seconds off the lead now, Norris.
Russell took the victory ahead of Mercedes teammate Kimi Antonelli, while Leclerc was 3rd.
Very nice. I like this car. I like this engine.
An ominous warning from a team that has been tipped to thrive in the new look Formula One. Duncan Huntsdale, ABC News.
To the AFL opening round, and the Western Bulldogs have toppled the 2-time reigning premiers, stunning with 7 final quarter goals. 5 straight goals for the Lions in the third quarter had the defending champs sitting 26 points ahead, but the Dogs took momentum from the final minutes of the third term into the last quarter. Tim English taking his mark and kicking his second major for the game to tip his team ahead to a 111-106 victory. Perth Glory has kept its Slim A-League men's finals hopes alive with a 2-2 draw against Auckland City. The Glory came from behind to lead 2-1 before allowing Auckland an equaliser. The result leaving Perth 4 points off the top 6 with 6 games remaining. Let's look at the satellite. Cloud across the far north and an active monsoon trough and lows is bringing rain and storms to parts of the Northern Territory and Queensland. On the synoptic chart, a high across the south keeps conditions settled while directing onshore flow and showers into the southeast. Looking around the country for tomorrow, starting in Queensland, mostly sunny in the southwest, scattered showers and thunderstorms across the rest of the state. In New South Wales and the ACT, showers along the north coast and adjacent ranges, isolated showers elsewhere. Dry and mostly sunny in the southern inland parts of the west, and in Victoria, a dry, warm and mostly sunny day, apart from isolated afternoon showers over the eastern ranges and Gippsland. To Tasmania, isolated showers developing around the north, central and western districts during the afternoon and evening, mostly fine about the south. In South Australia, dry apart from isolated light showers on the southern coasts, maximum temperatures almost below average. For Western Australia, a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the north, very hot in the east and central areas. And in the NT, sunny south of Tennant Creek, with possible heavy falls in the Daly, southwest Arnhem and Carpentaria districts. Patchy showers elsewhere. Looking ahead to Monday's forecast for the capital cities. Brisbane, some showers. Sydney, a shower or two. Cloudy in Canberra, mostly sunny in Melbourne. Hobart, partly cloudy. Fine in Adelaide, mostly sunny in Perth, and showers in Darwin with a top there of 30 degrees. There's more on the ABC News app and on ABC iView. I'm Meredith Sheehan. 9 days in Afghanistan is coming up next on the ABC News channel. Stay with us.
Does it feel like our lives are filled with noise, opinion and division? What if we paused and really listened to each other? In 2026, the ABC will be talking to Australians from all walks of life in a series of national conversations. I'm David Spears. Tomorrow night, I hope you'll join me for the first ABC National Forum, where I'll hear from Jewish Australians about belonging, overcoming hatred and their hopes for a brighter future.
ABC National Forum, tomorrow 8:30 on ABC and iView.
Indonesia's president is making his mark around the world.
Indonesia, the land of opportunity.
He has big ambitions.
Prabowo Subianto wants this program to feed more than 80 million people.
We plan to create a golden generation.
But some are worried.
We are going back to the dark side of history.
Should the Indonesian public be worried?
It should.
How could he shape the future of Indonesia?
Foreign Correspondent, Tuesday at 8 on ABC and ABC iView. Somewhere down a back road is something quite extraordinary.
This place is teeming with marine life.
From sapphire seas to ragged ranges. Join Lisa Miller.
Oh man, I couldn't do that. You're all mad in witchy fruit.
And her guest road trippers.
You're on. We're on.
For another jaw-dropping season.
Buckle up. There's still so much to explore.
Backroads, Thursday at 8 on ABC TV and ABC iView.
Can you keep a secret? Dad, it turns out I hadn't died. The money from your dad's life insurance finally came through.
You two are weapons-grade bonkers.
The things I do for this family. What sort of friend blackmails their own mates?
We're a crime family.
Oh, don't be silly. We're just a bit complicated, like the Beckhams.
This is Afghanistan, a country that slipped out of the headlines. For the first time in decades, there's quiet. Thanks to influencers, that version of Afghanistan is now finding a global audience.
It feels very peaceful. It doesn't feel like it's dangerous.
But what's going viral isn't the full reality. This is the most repressive place on earth for women. Millions of people are dying. Aid is drying up, and the world has largely walked away. I've spent months trying to get in, and now I'm finally here. I'm Meghna Bali, and for the next 9 days, I'll be reporting from here on the ground in Afghanistan, a place the world rarely gets to see up close anymore. It's still one of the most tightly controlled places in the world to report from. But we're here. We'll be speaking with the Taliban and, more importantly, the people who live under their rule, to show you what life is really like in Afghanistan. For 20 years, the US and its allies fought to keep the Islamist militant Taliban out of power.
Thanks to our military, our allies, and the brave fighters of Afghanistan, the Taliban regime is coming to an end.
Billions were spent. Thousands died. Then, in August 2021, it all collapsed, almost overnight. Foreign troops pulled out, the government fell, and the Taliban walked back in.
Taliban fighters have taken down the flag of Afghanistan.
The scenes we're seeing in Afghanistan, they're gut-wrenching. The truth is, this did unfold more quickly than we anticipated.
These scenes from Kabul airport shocked the world. I'm travelling to that same airport now. This time, it's quiet. Most foreigners are gone. Embassies closed, journalists exited, donors and aid plummeted, unable to work with a regime infamous for its brutality.
The Taliban have demonstrated their contempt for human rights and fundamental freedoms of women and girls.
While some of the most vulnerable, including women, persecuted minorities, and those who worked alongside US forces, were able to flee, the majority of Afghanistan's 42 million people had no choice but to stay. I want to know what happened to them and what this country looks like under Taliban rule. So, after a 90-minute flight, I'm in Kabul. It's my first full day in Kabul. It's the weekend here, and the city is buzzing. Markets are packed, street food is sizzling, kids are running between stalls, and over again, I hear the same thing. This optimism may seem surprising, but this is a country that hasn't known peace since the 1970s. They've seen a Soviet invasion, years of civil war, the rise of the extremist Taliban, the US-led invasion, a fragile republic, and finally, the sudden American withdrawal after 2 decades of war. So when the US forces withdrew in August 2021, they left behind Humvees like this in their rush to get out. And Taliban has actually left these bits of equipment littered across Kabul almost as if they're trophies. Security is no longer the defining issue in Afghanistan. It is a country in economic turmoil, but here in the streets of Kabul, life goes on. These freedoms, though, have come at a price. Decades of war have hollowed out the country's infrastructure. The Taliban's return to power has isolated the country from the West, cutting off most international funding and freezing billions of dollars in Afghan assets. Now, half the country depends on aid just to survive. Even basic staples are out of reach for many families.
Well, I'm safe, but my stomach is not safe.
Thank you very much. So this bread is a staple in all Afghan households. This will set them back about 50 Afghanis, which is close to $1, but there are some families that can't even afford this. Still, most of the people I meet tell me this life is better than before. But I'm acutely aware I'm yet to speak to one group of people whose freedoms have been systematically stripped under the Taliban's rule: women. Afghanistan is ruled by a deeply conservative emir, Haibatullah Akhundzada. He governs from Kandahar, the Taliban's spiritual and ideological heartland. And from there, his decrees carry the force of law, enforced across every corner of the country. In nearly 4.5 years of power, the regime has imposed more than 80 edicts, including bans on women working, being seen or heard in public, and the most devastating of them, a ban on education for girls over the age of 12. Together, they form what UN experts say amounts to gender apartheid. This is one of the most popular picnic spots in the capital, and a lot of Taliban members come here to spend their afternoons and evenings. Women aren't allowed to come into parks, so I've been given a special exception to be here. But I'm still getting a lot of looks from a lot of the men here. As a foreign woman, I'm tolerated here, but I'm clearly an anomaly. Men watch me from a distance, curious, but they're unwilling to approach me. So I go to them. Sir, look at him here. Yeah. This bullet-toting guy's name is Nakibullah. He tells me he's a Taliban member and he works in the counter-narcotics ministry. Women are not allowed to go to school after grade 6. They're not allowed to work. There's many restrictions on women. So do you believe that those restrictions should be eased, especially if you want to create relations with the West? Notice how his language is hopeful, but there are no timelines or guarantees. I've heard this kind of official doublespeak over and over again here. Reassurances without committing to change. I've had my first meeting with a senior Taliban official. To be honest, it's left me quite stunned. Their views still remain deeply conservative. They don't think anything needs to change, and they just don't genuinely understand why so much of the West doesn't want to engage with them on their terms. But there are men here who think girls should be educated.
In Islam, so important. Every woman and man needs to be education, and they need to study everything the society needs.
خو داسې دی چې دا خو هم ضرورت خو دی اشد ضرورت دی طب ته او دا د فقهي مسله.
Speak to me. Not because they don't want to, but because it's too dangerous. Of the few who do agree, most speak cautiously. We want to find out what life is like for women right now in Afghanistan. Are you happy living here?
آواز دل ما بگم کسی اینجا شاید تحت امنیت باشه میامد و شاید که جانی ما در خطر بیفتن.
Many of the women who once protested these rules aren't here anymore. They fled. Over the last few months, I've spoken to a few who escaped to Pakistan and Iran. One was a female judge and activist who defended women and children's rights and prosecuted Taliban fighters before 2021. We've been speaking over text. She says she was hunted, tortured and threatened by Taliban members she once sentenced in court. I've heard this fear expressed by so many women and repressed minorities. They miss their old lives, but they're too afraid to return. For more than 4 decades, Afghans have fled their country, escaping war, political upheaval, economic collapse, and recurring humanitarian crises. Almost 90% of the world's 6 million Afghan refugees now live in neighbouring Iran or Pakistan. But over the past year, both countries have forced more than 2 million people back, citing security concerns and economic strain, including a 22-year-old woman from the persecuted Shia Hazara minority I met in Islamabad last August.